Meeting ground rule number 9, have an agreed agenda available for all attendees and start the meeting by agreeing on the agenda and to abide by the rules, pin them to the wall or circulate them. Clarity up front creates alignment throughout. Structure is not restrictive, it's empowering. This rule is about anchoring the meeting before it even begins. When participants walk in and immediately see a shared visible agenda, either on a screen, pinned to the wall, or circulated on paper, they know what to expect, how to prepare mentally, and how to contribute meaningfully. It brings instant structure, which transforms the room from uncertain chatter to focused collaboration. The agenda is more than just a checklist of topics. It represents a shared agreement about what matters, what will be prioritized, and how time will be used. When it is presented at the start, and everyone nods in agreement, it creates psychological alignment. Participants commit to the flow, accept the time allocations, and understand where their voices will fit in. Importantly, this rule also reinforces the idea that the meeting has its own operating framework. Ground rules like timekeeping, respectful participation, no interrupting, and staying on topic are easier to uphold when they are stated clearly and early. Pinning them to the wall or projecting them on screen is a visual cue that keeps expectations present throughout the session. Taking just 2 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to confirm the agenda and remind attendees of the ground rules is one of the highest return actions a chairperson can take. It reduces derailments, preempts avoidable conflicts, and sets a professional tone that says, "We are here to work together, efficiently and respectfully." Circulating the agenda beforehand is also a vital part of this rule. It allows attendees to come prepared, not only with information, but with context. It gives them a chance to reflect, anticipate questions, and know when their contribution will be most needed. It also allows participants to suggest agenda adjustments or raise concerns before the meeting even begins. During the meeting, having the agenda visible helps everyone stay on track. If conversation drifts, the chairperson or any participant can point back to the agenda and ask, "Where are we now, and how does this relate to what we agreed?" It becomes a neutral tool for refocusing the group without personalizing redirection. Abiding by the rules is equally critical. Ground rules only work if they're treated as shared commitments, not optional guidelines. When they're visible throughout the meeting, it's easier to call attention to violations, whether it's someone dominating the conversation, arriving late, or dismissing others' input. The rules become the standard everyone holds each other to. When this rule is neglected, meetings lose their guardrails. Topics expand without resolution, time allocations get ignored, and discussions drift into unplanned areas. Participants leave confused about what was actually decided or why certain issues weren't addressed. The meeting may feel active, but it lacks direction and accountability. Ultimately, a visible, agreed-upon agenda combined with clearly posted rules transforms meetings from reactive gatherings to proactive work sessions. It fosters shared ownership, protects time, and ensures that participation is both structured and meaningful. When people see where they are headed and the framework they're working within, they show up stronger and work smarter. Meeting ground rule number 10. Where specialist attendees are required for only part of the meeting, organize the agenda to accommodate part-time involvement. Respect expertise and their time by bringing them in when needed, not keeping them waiting. Not every participant in a meeting needs to be present for the entire duration. Specialists, subject matter experts, or external contributors are often called in for a specific topic, update, or decision. This rule emphasizes the importance of organizing the agenda, so these individuals are only present for the segments that require their input. Nothing more, nothing less. Time is a premium for specialists, whether it's a technical expert, a legal advisor, or a financial controller. They are often balancing multiple responsibilities across the project. Making them sit through unrelated discussions is inefficient, and over time, leads to reluctance in future participation. Thoughtful agenda planning protects their time and reinforces professionalism. This rule also improves meeting flow. When the agenda is sequenced to bring in part-time participants precisely when needed, the meeting becomes more dynamic. The conversation remains relevant to those present, and the group can engage more deeply on the issue at hand. Afterward, the specialist can exit the meeting without missing unrelated content or causing disruption. It's also about precision. When a specialist knows exactly when they're expected to contribute, they can prepare accordingly, bringing focused data, recommendations, or decisions to the table. This eliminates vague or broad input and ensures the right information is delivered at the right time to the right people. For organizers, this means clearly indicating on the agenda when specific individuals are expected to join and for how long. This can be supported with timestamps on the agenda or calendar invitations that show entry and exit points. Communicating this upfront allows specialists to plan their day without uncertainty or unnecessary delays. During the meeting, it's the chairperson's role to manage the transition smoothly. This means temporarily pausing to welcome the specialist, provide a brief context if needed, and then guide the discussion directly into their area of focus. Once their segment is complete, they should be formally thanked and released, reinforcing the value of their input. When this rule is ignored, specialists either sit idle through unrelated topics or miss their cue altogether. In both cases, it creates friction. The former leads to wasted time and disengagement. The latter causes delays, missed insights, or having to reconvene another meeting for their input. Both outcomes reduce overall meeting efficiency. Respecting partial involvement also boosts participation quality. When people know they're not expected to stay beyond their relevance, they show up sharper, more alert, and more prepared to add value. It sends the message that their expertise is appreciated and their time matters. Ultimately, this rule is about intelligent meeting design. It recognizes that not everyone needs to be in the room the whole time, and that thoughtful structuring enhances both the effectiveness of the meeting and the willingness of experts to engage when it truly counts. When done right, everyone gets what they need. No more, no less. Meeting ground rule number 11, stick to the agenda once it is agreed. An agenda is a roadmap. If you keep veering off course, you never reach the destination. Once a meeting begins, the agreed agenda serves as the shared contract between all participants. It outlines what will be discussed, in what order, and within what time frame. Sticking to it ensures the meeting stays focused, efficient, and outcome-driven. Deviating from it without a strong reason introduces chaos, confuses priorities, and often leads to rushed or missed decisions. This rule is especially important in high-stakes or time-sensitive meetings where each topic has been carefully chosen to support project progress. When discussions stray from the agreed agenda, even with good intentions, it creates ripple effects. Time runs short, key items get sidelined, and participants may leave without clarity on the issues they came to resolve. Agendas are not meant to suppress spontaneity. They are there to create structure. When off-topic issues arise, the chairperson should acknowledge them, but respectfully defer them to a future meeting or note them in a parking lot for follow-up. This keeps the current meeting anchored while ensuring other important items are not lost. Sticking to the agenda also helps manage group dynamics. It prevents dominant voices from monopolizing time with tangents or personal concerns and gives quieter team members the space to contribute meaningfully within the defined structure. This balance leads to fairer, more productive discussions. It also fosters accountability. When each agenda item has an owner or a defined output, sticking to the flow ensures that deliverables and decisions aren't forgotten or diluted by unrelated debate. It keeps participants alert, prepared, and aware of when their input is needed and when it's time to listen and support. For the chairperson, enforcing this rule requires both firmness and diplomacy. It means tactfully redirecting the group when discussions wander and reminding everyone of the shared agreement to follow the set path. This doesn't require rigidity, but it does require discipline, especially in long or multi-stakeholder meetings. Ignoring this rule leads to fatigue, frustration, and fragmented outcomes. The meeting may feel busy or intense, but little gets resolved. Participants leave unclear on what was agreed or feel that their time was spent on topics that didn't concern them. This erodes trust in the meeting process itself. Conversely, when the agenda is followed, meetings build rhythm. Each topic is addressed with the focus it deserves. People know what's coming next. Time is allocated fairly, and the meeting ends with a sense of progress, not just activity. In the end, the agenda isn't just a list, it's a strategy. Sticking to it shows respect for the time, effort, and priorities of everyone in the room. It turns meetings from open-ended discussions into structured decision-making platforms where alignment is reached, outcomes are achieved, and momentum is maintained. Meeting ground rule number 12. A meeting of more than 7 people is not a meeting unless it is a presentation. Beyond 7, collaboration declines and communication fragments. Know when you're meeting and when you're presenting. This rule brings attention to the critical difference between a meeting and a presentation. A meeting is a space for discussion, decisions, collaboration, and shared problem solving. It thrives on interaction and balanced participation. But once the number of attendees exceeds 7, those qualities begin to erode. Dialogue turns into monologue, and the dynamics shift from exchange to broadcast. The number 7 isn't arbitrary. It's based on human attention and engagement thresholds. In small groups, everyone has space to speak, react, and influence the outcome. As the group grows larger, airtime becomes limited, crosstalk increases, and some participants inevitably go silent. Instead of many voices engaging, only a few dominate while others observe passively. That's why large gatherings should be treated as presentations, not meetings. Presentations are designed to inform, update, or inspire. They have a primary speaker, limited interaction, and a clear takeaway. In contrast, true meetings require active contribution from all attendees. If you're not expecting that level of interaction, then calling it a presentation sets the right expectation and format. This rule also helps organizers plan more effectively. If you need input, decision-making, or brainstorming, limit the invite list to those who must be involved. Keep it lean. If you simply need to share information with a broader audience, structure it as a presentation with Q&A at the end. Doing so respects everyone's time and attention span. Large group meetings often fail because they try to be both things at once, part discussion, part information dump. The result is confusion, disengagement, and uneven outcomes. Participants don't know whether to listen, speak up, or take notes. The energy becomes scattered, and no one feels fully seen or heard. In hybrid or virtual settings, this rule becomes even more important. Engagement drops sharply in large video meetings unless there is a clear presenter and defined structure. Interactive dialogue among 10 to 15 people on a single call rarely works unless meticulously choreographed, and even then, only briefly. Applying this rule doesn't mean avoiding large groups entirely. It means being deliberate about the format. For example, break a large session into smaller work streams for discussion, or assign breakout groups with defined tasks. Use plenary time for sharing outcomes, not for unstructured dialogue. When this rule is ignored, meetings become bloated. Time gets wasted managing who speaks when. People tune out, multitask, or feel like their presence didn't matter. The effectiveness of the meeting isn't measured by how many attended, but by what was achieved, decided, or moved forward. Ultimately, this rule reminds us to design meetings for purpose, not appearances. If interaction is your goal, keep it small. If communication is your goal, make it structured and presentational. Knowing the difference is what transforms group time from just another block on the calendar into a moment of true alignment and progress.